chance that you could be seen. It will be speaker view, but we just wanted to warn you, always a chance. And also, once we broadcast, we do encourage you that you can make comments or anything in our Zoom chat, emojis, affirmations. We are going to strongly encourage that, but also know that doesn't necessarily stream via the YouTube channel. So it's only seen within this space. And additionally, we would also say, if you haven't ever gone to our YouTube channel, I am going to post that link in the chat now, and I'll always post it. I'll post it again at the end as well, but you're more than welcome to go there at any time and actually subscribe so that when we have events like this, the live stream will notify you and you can see lots of our events as they happen. So just as a heads up. And also, like I think I mentioned, also those on the watching via YouTube can chat, and we're trying to monitor those chats as well. Okay, that is all of our housekeeping. So now I'm excited to formally begin our program. As we begin, I do want to acknowledge that events like this would definitely not be possible without the support of each and every one of you, especially those of you who I was saying as you come in. I love seeing familiar faces. So many of you really frequent our events and frequent the support of celebrations such as these, and I just want to thank you. Also, members of our senior leadership often support. Some who are here today, some who are participating actually in our celebration today. So I think Dr. Dan Mahoney, the president of our SIU system, has popped in. Dr. Caldwell will be hearing from later. I know our chancellor has already frequented some of our events. Dr. Harris, our vice chancellor for equity, diversity, inclusion. Dr. Denise Cobb is here as well, provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs. And we're really grateful for you. I know I've seen already a couple of our deans in here as well. So thank you so much for being here as well. We love seeing your faces. We really appreciate also, which is part of the celebration, your dedication to anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion work as well. It means a lot to the work that we do in the hub, but also the campus and the community. So also really quickly, I do want to draw attention to the asterisks that you see behind me in women. If you were able to attend our opening ceremony for Women's History Month, then you heard a little bit about this information already, but I thought I would jump in and share it a little bit too, because you'll see it in our Zoom background, which also, as we mentioned the Zoom background, I also want you to know that if you'd like to add the background and be a part of the celebration that way as well, you're more than welcome to. I have just dropped that image into the chat just now. So the asterisks we do for a couple of reasons. One, it's to acknowledge the discussion around inclusive language with the actual word women. The origins of the word women with an E really actually means of man or wife of man. So really the existence of women is directly related to men. Because of this, some women had wanted to change the spelling to purposely push against this notion, which led to starting to use the Y instead of an E. However, unfortunately, this was soon adopted by some trans exclusive feminist women, expressing that if you were not a biological woman, then you couldn't claim being a woman. So the Y instead of an E actually became exclusive. So then there became a move to the X instead of the E or the Y, the X indicating that those using the spelling were inclusive of trans women as real women. While this was intended to be inclusive, some trans women expressed that if one was to be truly inclusive of them, then you wouldn't need an X in the first place. So you would just spell women as being women with the E. However, as I mentioned at our opening event, if you were there, this is a full circle moment that brings us back to the original spelling of E being of men. So the whole point of putting this asterisk in is to truly cause some dissonance in our brain and really have us think about words and what they mean and how one word can have all of that context within it. And so I wanted to draw your attention to it because the asterisk is also in this moment for us to acknowledge all of the phenomenal women here today, and however they identify is also part of the celebration. So I just want to make it clear that that's why it's there, in case people are like, why is that asterisk in there? I wanted to make sure I added that context as well, because it's always good for us to add a little info as we can at events like these. So fun facts. And now I want to head back to one of those avid supporters that I spoke of just moments ago, who absolutely supports the work that we do in the hub and most certainly is dedicated to anti-racism, equity, diversity, and inclusion on this campus, and who was actually recognized as a phenomenal woman herself at this very event just last year in 2021. And who is this phenomenal woman, you might say? Well, none other than our very own current Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, who will bring us opening remarks today. Vice Chancellor Dr. Jessica Harris became our inaugural Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion on March 1st, 2021. And I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of things happen in that time. Vice Chancellor Harris is an advocate for faculty, staff, students, and community members alike. And before becoming even Vice Chancellor, Dr. Harris served as the Assistant Provost for Academic Equity and Inclusive Excellence in the SIU Office of the Provost, and has been an SIU faculty member since 2011, where she served as an Associate Professor of Historical Studies in the SIU College of Arts and Sciences and Director of the Interdisciplinary Black Studies Program. Vice Chancellor Harris continues listening to this campus and dedicates her time to moving our campus forward. We're so happy to have her joining us for opening remarks today. So at this time, I would really love to invite our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Jessica Harris, to share remarks.
Thank you, Lindy, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to the 8th Annual Phenomenal Women Celebration. Although this event has been a luncheon in the past, we do hope to return to that format in the future, but nonetheless, I'm still so happy to see many of you joining us in this virtual Zoom space. This particular event was created in 2015 by the Office of Institutional Diversity and Inclusion under the leadership of Dr. Vanessa Brown. And since then, almost 120 women have been recognized. And today continues this tradition as we gather to honor women of phenomenal character who have made a purposeful and positive impact on this campus and community. Our time together today is to ensure that these women are seen, to ensure that they not only are recognized by their community for the work that they have already done, but we also want to pour into them and to encourage them as they continue forward to do many great works. Likewise, we know that those from historically underrepresented and minoritized identities are not often celebrated. Women's History Month itself only started as a week in 1982. So we need to not only recognize the women here today, but keep in mind as the year continues on, that phenomenal women surround us each and every day. We should not only continue to support and raise up the women celebrated here, but remember there may be so many others as well that need support and recognition. And as with many of our other history months and annual celebrations, we need to remember that women who demonstrate exceptional character, dedication, and effort shouldn't have to wait for an award ceremony to be recognized, respected, and valued. So again, let's be sure to let the women around us know as often as we can the greatness that we see and recognize in them. So again, I just thank you all for being here this afternoon and for joining in the celebration. I think those of you who will be recognized today for your phenomenal and exemplary work. And I think those of you on the screen and who are watching via YouTube who continue to work towards a greater community for anti-racism, equity, diversity, and inclusion here at SIUE. And of course, I appreciate this opportunity to share my thoughts and look forward to the rest of the program. So thanks again for being here this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Vice Chancellor Harris, for your remarks and reminding us to see those great and phenomenal women around us. Thank you. At this time, I now have the honor of introducing our keynote speaker today, who will share some, I'm sure, inspiring and motivational thoughts about phenomenal women. I'm really excited to hear from her. Dr. Shula Caldwell serves as our inaugural Vice President for Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Chief Diversity Officer for the Southern Illinois University System. She has served in multiple leadership roles over the past 25 years to cultivate inclusive excellence on college campuses. Her aim is to ensure all students, faculty, and staff members can bring their full, authentic selves to SIU and achieve their full potential. And I can say from personal experience that interacting with Vice President Caldwell and her enthusiasm for her work is unbridled and contagious. I am so often energized and motivated to carry out her vision for our system, and I love seeing her desire to bring our SIU system together under the banner of inclusive excellence, anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. thank you for your phenomenal contributions to our system so far, and for the work that I know you will continue to carry on to help our system be cutting edge into the future. So with that, Vice President Caldwell, I look forward to the message you will share with us today. And please, everyone, if you want to join in with emojis and affirmations, let's celebrate and bring Dr. Caldwell to the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the warm reception, and thank you, Ms. Lindy Wagner and Dr. Jessica Havers. Before I actually get started with my keynote, I actually wanted to take a few moments to actually read the land acknowledgement statement. And just share that the Southern Illinois University system respectfully acknowledges the indigenous peoples and lands on which our colleges reside. We are honored and grateful to gather here today on Native land. We are committed in word and deed to enhancing relationships, equity, and the rights of indigenous communities. We are resolved to strengthen their sovereignty and self-determination, to protect and preserve their language, culture, spiritual traditions, and relationships with land and people. We would now like to just say good afternoon, phenomenal women. And I also want to acknowledge the men who have joined today as well. Thank you for being here. I am honored to be with you today, and I am grateful to be counted among these distinguished and accomplished women. When Ms. Lindy Wagner asked me to be the keynote speaker for this event, of course, I was excited to celebrate the identities and accomplishments of the SIU women who have enhanced and fortified the classroom and workplace environment. However, as the day drew near, I struggled with an area of focus because in my everyday work, I am bombarded with data points that highlight gender and racial inequities across higher education, society, and the United States. But Lindy Wagner, who is also a phenomenal industrious visionary, made it clear that this celebratory event would be saturated with positive and affirming words, and I agree with that. And I don't want you all to misunderstand me. I'm aware of the historical and present day gains and significant contributions women have made in American society and globally. I am also painfully and personally familiar with the data that tells the story of the arduous road ahead for women who seek to obtain economic and social equality. According to the 2021 McKinsey study on women in the workplace, globally, women earn 77% of what men earn. At this rate, pay equity between men and women will not be achieved before 2086. Women represent 51% of the American population. We only represent 7% of Fortune 500 leaders, 18% of US governors, 25% of C-suite level leaders, and 30% of college presidents. Another way to look at these data points is to highlight that 93% of Fortune 500 leaders are men, 82% of US governors are men. Men also occupy 75% of C-suite level positions and 70% of college presidential positions. As an African American, my demographic represents 13% of the United States population. But less than 4% of full professors in the academy are Black. Less than 8% of the white collar workforce are represented by Black Americans, and women still only earn 63 cents compared to non-white Hispanic men in America. Non-Hispanic white men are also overrepresented in the media, the platform where sacred stories about our lived experiences are told and retold. Over 80% of Hollywood CEOs, senior executives, directors, and writers are all white males. Although they are captains of storytelling in the United States, I will share a narrative timeline of a few powerful women who have shattered glass ceilings and broken systemic barriers over the past 50 years. The women I'm about to highlight are trailblazers who were once on the margins, but through vision, hard work, and determination, embarked on a journey from exclusion to inclusion. In the LGBTQIA community, Lynn Conway, a computer scientist and engineer, was fired from her job in 1968 when she just revealed her intention to transition to a woman. She persisted in her field, and her work has been credited for several computer innovations. She became a trans rights activist. Did you know before 1969, women were not allowed to attend Ivy League universities? Both Yale and Princeton were the first Ivy League institutions to accept women in the fall of 1969. The last all-male Ivy League, Columbia, didn't accept women until 1983. In 1972, Katharine Graham made history after she inherited the Washington Post from her father. She became the first female CEO of a Fortune 500 company. In 1975, the first female president in the entire world was Latina. Isabel Martinez de Perón was sworn in as the leader of Argentina in 1975, as her husband and then president of Argentina was dying from heart disease. When we think about space, in 1978, Sally Ride was selected as an astronaut candidate by NASA, which was also the first year that NASA accepted women into its class. In 1983, the Space Shuttle Challenger launched into the stratosphere, and Ride became the first American woman to go to space. Sandra Day O'Connor was appointed to the Supreme Court by President Ronald Reagan in 1981. Before O'Connor, there had been 101 justices appointed to the court, all of them men. In 1982, Alice Walker became the first Black woman to win a Pulitzer Prize for fiction. Famously known for The Color Purple, her work is focused on the struggles of Black people, particularly women, and their lives in a racist, sexist, and violent society. Until 1995, the Citadel, a historic military college in South Carolina, refused to allow female cadets. Nancy Ruth Mace became the first woman to graduate from the Citadel in 1999, barely 20 years ago. After nearly 100 years as an organization, the National Football League finally hired its first female referee, Sarah Thomas, in 2015. In 2018, Saudi Arabian women earned the right to drive, which is unbelievable even as I read that. It has only been 4 years that women in Saudi Arabia have enjoyed the freedom to travel without a male guardian. Women are still transforming nations and modifying existing power structures. Just last year, Kamala Devi Harris became the first female vice president and the highest ranking female official in US history, as well as the first African-American and first Asian-American vice president. These phenomenal women, whose principles are centered on gender equality, human rights, and power sharing, are cited among the greats in our history. These women have launched into space, made lasting impacts on political and judicial systems around the globe, won Pulitzer Prizes, and earned distinction as the first female vice president in the United States. They have blazed a bright path for us, our daughters, and future generations. I share their stories because they remind me of the women who are gathered here today and the women who are honored in this celebration. As I contemplate what these exceptional women have in common, I encourage you to do likewise and dwell on the commonalities of these phenomenal women. The reason it is important to consider these women who are before us today is due to a void in the literature on what successful women have in common. Research is used to inform advocacy, inclusion, and solutions for women. Yet, in-depth research has not been conducted on high-ability women who occupy and maintain success in male-dominated roles or professions. However, there's a plethora of research on women having less access to economic, education, and political participation. To share a personal account, in 2017, I was a student in Harvard University inaugural class, Strategies for Leading and Building Diverse Organizations. During the course, I had an opportunity to learn from leading scholars, including Dr. Iris Bonet, Behavioral Economics and Academic Dean at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. She authored What Works? Gender Equality by Design. Bonet's book is focused on helping women navigate the system, compete more effectively, negotiate more assertively, and lead more strategically. Her research is focused on understanding and mitigating the influence of a patriarchal colonial legacy in organizations. I also had the opportunity to gain knowledge from Dr. Peter Glick, social scientist and pioneer on benevolent sexism, which Glick defines as a subjectively positive orientation of protection, idealization, and affection directed towards women. Glick's findings show that there are core sexist beliefs that saturate not only the American workplace, but the global labor workforce. After 40 studies in 19 countries, Glick's data revealed that women leaders are stereotyped as wonderful but weak, and men leaders are praised for being bad and bold. A wonderful but weak woman is empathetic, cooperative, nurturing, dependent, and fragile. In the workplace, the wonderful but weak woman is given fewer demanding assignments. Her evaluations speak more of her nurturing character than actual performance. She is undermined, her decisions are questioned, but she is considered warm. If a woman does not conform to the wonderful but weak narrative, she is penalized and viewed as hostile and cold towards men. It is the same finding for women who negotiate for higher pay. Bad but bold men are ambitious, strong, assertive, arrogant, ruthless, and dominant. These men are viewed as competent and effective in the workplace. These men are promoted and praised in the American and global labor workforce. Peter's overall conclusions revealed that we like women, but we respect men. Benevolent sexism is harmful to women in the workplace because their experiences are dictated by customary roles, and it stifles their ability to make decisions, lead creatively, or lead effectively in the workplace and classroom. Now, after 55 slides of discourse on how women are subjected to benevolent and hostile sexism in the classroom and workplace, I realized there were very few solutions offered to mitigate this divisive legacy of contempt towards women. After listening to several presentations on women not earning respect in the workplace, to no fault of their own, I asked the instructor to share sound research on women who have earned respect in the workplace. The leading Harvard instructor paused and said he could not recall any such studies that were well-researched on women thriving and gaining respect in the workplace. Then suddenly he said, oh, I now recall one such study. The study showed that women who were thoughtful and helpful gained respect from peers in their workplace. Now, I must admit, when I asked the question, I already had an answer in mind. I was thinking of a proverb that said, a kind-hearted woman gains respect. In fact, I told him I thought the one study he could recall was intriguing, and then I shared the proverb with the professor and the colleagues. Now, to be clear, the definition of kind-hearted is not nice, nurturing, warm, or weak. A kind-hearted person is someone who proactively seeks out and meets the needs of others. A kind-hearted woman is strategic, and she meets needs even when others may recognize the needs are going unfulfilled. The kind-hearted woman is a visionary. She's a leader, and she is action-oriented. Now, as I read the descriptors for each woman who is being honored this afternoon, it became clear to me that these women are kind-hearted women who have earned our respect. The very words that are used to describe their achievements are evidence of thoughtful and proactive strategies employed to elevate women and their environments. The women represented today are difference makers with a measurable impact. Collectively, they represent a body of research who embodies the characteristics of successful women in the workplace. So it is fitting that I take a few minutes to discuss these exceptional traits that bind these women together. Now I'm going to take a moment to share my screen. I would like to share my screen, and what I actually took a moment to do was to highlight specific words that I noticed that these women had in common. And now we're going to start with Miss Rebecca Bennett, and I had the opportunity to hear her keynote, which was exceptional. So when we think about Rebecca Bennett, I want us to notice words like she's helped tens of thousands of people. One of the words that you will see resonated throughout, in fact, I don't think there was a slide that did not mention a woman who had affected positive change. And if we look at the areas of impact, she has left no stone unturned. Her impact has been on the economy, the community, education, the environment, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and health. Dr. Bennett is a difference maker. Okay, I'm trying to advance to the next slide. Trick to advancing to the next. Okay, let's try this. Okay, now actually this is something that just stood out to me. We could just read the first line. We have our young queen, Miss Journey Brewer. It just starts out saying that she's a kind-hearted person, right? That was actually already in there. I didn't add that. That's how she's actually described. So I almost feel like I don't need to say more, but she is proactive, thoughtful, and strategic. It says she goes above and beyond in all her endeavors. Thank you, Ms. Brewer. And then we have Miss Christina Costello. Let's look at some of the words to describe her. It starts out by saying she always knows. Her concern for students and her willingness to help. So think about the words that I use, somebody who is thoughtful, who is helpful, and who proactively meets the needs of others. Describing Ms. Costello perfectly. She has single-handedly changed the face of the Hispanic Latinx experience on the Carbondale campus. She has changed. She has transformed, she has improved, she has strengthened the Hispanic and Latinx experience at SIU. We have our provost, Dr. Denise Cobb. And again, I think about what does it mean to strengthen, to improve, to fortify, and those words are used to describe her. Whether she is trying to improve the faculty experience or listen and advocate. Again, you have to be thoughtful in order to advocate. So she's listening, she's being thoughtful, she's advocating, and she dedicates herself. Again, words that will describe someone who is kind-hearted, phenomenal, and proactive. We have Dr. Meeks. The words that stood out to me is that she calls attention to. That means that she has to actually issue a clarion call, that she's thoughtful, that she's intentional, that she's deliberate. Another thing that a lot of these women had in common, going after grants. For those of who have participated in grant writing, we know that that takes a lot of effort, research, but you have to be strategic and proactive. Again, we will know this word to help facilitate positive change for the unfortunate issue of sexual harassment. So again, she is helping those who are on the margins, improving the conditions and the lives of women. Thank you, Dr. Meeks. We have Ms. Carolyn Jason, and I'd say she is actually giving further proof about what successful women have in common. Again, we see the words positively affect, proactive, she's strategic, she's removing barriers, providing services, empowering children, expanding the capacity and confidence. So she has all the words. I want to thank you, Ms. Carolyn Jason, for being a kind-hearted, phenomenal woman. And then we have Ms. Candy Johnson, who is also phenomenal. One of the things that I think we need to, is that she makes a special effort to seek out. Again, being proactive, being strategic. She is not passively sitting by, waiting for others to come to her. She's actually going to those women who are interested in STEM, which we know is a national crisis right now. So again, we see her living out the actual definition of what it means to be thoughtful, inclusive, proactive, and strategic. And one of the things I also wanted to point out as a working mom of 2 young boys, because many of us on this call, we wear many hats. We are caregivers, we are caretakers, and we see that although she is a mom and she has dedicated her attention to being a great mom, she is still dedicated to making SIU stronger and better. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. And then we have Ms. D. Johnson, and her providing a safe space, bounce ideas off of us, or issues that get honest answers. So when I saw this, I thought we got to be friends, because I'm always trying to seek out the truth, and to know that Ms. D. Johnson is a truth giver, I think that's exceptional. But we also see in here that she breaks down barriers, that she's committed to breaking them down. It talks about her, again, we see the word positive, influencing hiring practices, helping, again, the key definition, being proactive, helping, thinking of others, and recognizing their own biases. So not only is she committed to being thoughtful and thinking, she's also challenging others to think, to make processes fair and more equitable, contributing to research on successful women. We have Dr. Liu, again, who received a $50,000 grant for the St. Louis County Children's Service Fund, helping with mental needs among Asian American and Pacific Islanders. We see the word positive difference. She is a problem solver, and she is kind-hearted as well, because again, she's working to create understanding. So we even see again that intentionality and that thoughtfulness that's presented in her achievements today. We have Miss Dinah Mcgreen, and it talks about how she quite often goes above and beyond. Again, so we see proactivity, we see action-oriented, we see strategic. And she has done quite a bit working to fundraise $25,000 and advocating for diverse groups, the Saluki Pride event, Stand With Ukraine Peace Rally, planning a women's wellness walk, and also celebrating the 50th anniversary of Title IX and honoring past, present female athletes and coaches. So again, she is another person who is perfect for research as far as bringing people together, being intentional, deliberate, proactive, and thoughtful. Thank you. We have Dr. Gertrude. We see encouraging conversations. She's challenging customary beliefs. She's challenging others to think. She is proactive in her actions to improve the environment for students. Her holistic thinking impacts the environment. She is a game changer. She is a leader who is making us all stronger. We have another one of our young fabulous queens, Ms. Mo Pickett. I see words like she works vigorously, which also means tirelessly. She's improving policies. Again, we see the word improving, changing conditions, enhancing conditions, meaning that she has to be proactive, strategic, intentional, a leader. We see many of the organizations, presidents of Black Girls Rock, recognition as a Federated Sister of the Month. So she's constantly trying to improve the Black experience at SIU, and not just making it better for her class, but for those who follow. So thank you, Ms. Mo Pickett, for being a phenomenal woman. We have Ms. Izzy Pruitt. And again, I'm situated in Springfield, so I especially appreciate the work that you've done to plan, organize, strategize, and protest for women and Black Lives Matter. I think about other descriptors, her being confident, courageous, having deep convictions, being brave, being clear when offering feedback for change to the administration. So again, we see how she's a planner, how she's an organizer, how she's strategic. All of these things that I needed to be a phenomenal, kind-hearted woman. Again, she has that in common with many of our honorees today. We have Miss Talisha Reinhardt, one of the most inspiring women that is known. Again, she goes out of her way. She's not waiting for people to come to her. She's proactive. She's strategic. They don't have to worry about incorrect information. She's an expert. She's knowledgeable. She's a leader. Other adjectives, we see that she's supportive, that she's helpful, that she serves, that she's encouraged. All, again, align with what it means to be a kind-hearted, thoughtful, proactive difference maker. Thank you, Talisha. Then we have Dr. Bernadette. We see words like continuous improvement, continuous work, looking at health equity, access to care in marginalized populations and groups. She not only cares for them on the ground in Guatemala, but she leads monthly telemedicine clinics with children that are malnourished. She's addressing food insecurity, which is a primary social ill in the United States, and it has been on the rise for years. Without her tenacity, without her proactivity, without her strategy, without her leadership, these children will most likely still be suffering from severe malnutrition. Again, she is a game changer in the community, and she's strengthening work, not just locally, but nationally as well. Thank you, Dr. Bernadette. And then last but not least, we have Miss Ashley Whittler, who embodies the criteria of a phenomenal woman. I just wanted to say that another thing I saw in common with many of the women shared today is their deep commitment to ADEI work, anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so I am just thrilled to see the levels of collaboration and partnership. And I want to thank all of you for your work in that. But we see again that she implements cultural awareness. So again, she's taking the initiative, she's being proactive, she's leading, she's thoughtful. We see words like helping students to learn and engage. She's participating in fundraising events because we know that it takes money to make a lot of things happen. But although these women do not have the funds, they are seeking the funds out. They're being, again, proactive, strategic, and making it happen to advance others and help them thrive in life. So I just want to thank you, Ms. Whitler, for removing barriers and restoring wholeness to children and families. So again, if we could just take a moment, I think we've kind of done some together some research here to see that these women have all of these things in common. And I just really want to salute them. So as I conclude, I just want to, again, emphasize the differences. I would say the commonalities. Every inspiring woman that we read about this afternoon, they all use their personal agency and power to build capacity and confidence. These are the kind-hearted women that we respect because they are ambitious and empowering. So again, if we could take a moment to apply these phenomenal women who are most worthy of our appreciation for their tireless efforts and remarkable acts of service. The women who are honored today are wonderful women. The research got that part right, but we are not weak, as evidenced by the creative programming, problem solving, community building, and disruption to patriarchy and colonialism. We are working towards building an authentic and all-inclusive environment for the betterment of SIU and beyond. There is indeed much to celebrate, and I celebrate each of you for the splendid work you have done and the inspiring work you will continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful, Dr. Caldwell. Thank you. I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I don't know if I could stop smiling. I was just like so excited. And it's wonderful to hear the qualitative study you just did of the women that we're celebrating today. It was super exciting. So now I'm even more excited because everyone got to see the teaser of the PowerPoint. Dr. Caldwell and I had talked about this ahead of time. So we talked about that she was going to do that. So I thought of it as like a teaser. So now you get to hear all the words because we know some of the words were a lot on the PowerPoint. So we want to make sure that those get read. So I now have the honor of actually sharing with you the full list in all its entirety with the PowerPoint one last time of our 2022 Phenomenal Women Awardees. Now, before we do that, though, I want to make sure I share a little bit more context. I don't know if you've noticed, I love context. So I want to let you know, too, that we did ask a lot of our nominators. They had to really think about some nominees that met a lot of different criteria. And Dr. Caldwell hit on some of those, actually, which is the idea of having remarkable character and really thinking about how have they really made this positive or, really good and impressive impact on their communities. And we've also asked them to really reflect on what kind of commitments they've made as it relates to anti-racism, equity, diversity, inclusion to those around them. So I just love seeing the themes because that is what's resonated, and that's also what our nominators were able to share about their nominees. So we also have asked today for some of our nominators to share their voices with us as well. So we're really excited to share now this PowerPoint. So what's going to happen is we do have some nominators who are able to be with us today. And so they're sharing kind of the nominations themselves for their nominees, the award winners. When that's not possible, we do have some of our hub staff who will be reading in their place. So you'll see us, a couple of us reading a couple of times, and that's mainly because we're able to share those nominations. But don't think that's any less exciting because the words are still from their nominators. Additionally, we do know that there are, I think, 2 awardees who were unable to join us today, but of course we're still celebrating them because we are streaming this, and I made clear to them, please watch this later so that you can still see yourself being celebrated. Now, one last thing, I know that it's very exciting and we want to come off and unmute and share and celebrate and be very exclamatory for each person. I personally would love to do that. I know it can get complicated as we go along. So my one last ask is that all those affirmations and emojis happen in the Zoom space. And then as soon as the PowerPoint is done, I will let us unleash because I can feel it already that everyone's very excited to celebrate everyone. I know I am. So when that comes, I'll let you know. We're going to unmute. Everyone can do all their congratulations. You can do all the celebration you want, and we will give it all the time we need to get that out. So I just want you to be prepared. Okay, so at this time, I will be sharing the PowerPoint. So give me 1 second while I prepare this and get it ready for everyone. Well, it's going to be a second because now it's being difficult. I believe my computer has frozen all of a sudden. Sorry, team. Sorry, of course this is going to happen. I was all prepared and now it's freezing. Give me 1 moment, team. I apologize. Men award winners. Oh, and it just stopped again. My apologies, team. I got all excited. And now we're going to go. So I'll pass it to the first nominator.
Alrighty, Rebecca Bennett, founder of Emerging Wisdom and Edwardsville, Illinois resident, is an impactful change agent who has, in her nearly 20-year career, helped tens of thousands of people and hundreds of organizations effect positive change in the areas of organizational and community leadership, economic development, educational equity, environmental sustainability, diversity and inclusion, health and wellness, as well as women's and girls' empowerment. Rebecca has a dedication to elevating the human condition. Rebecca is passionate about the elevation of all individuals, not just Black, Indigenous people of color. As a Black woman, she does have the ability to utilize her passion and intersectionality together, which creates, even powerful and impactful results. Rebecca Bennett has been, is, and will forever be what I consider a phenomenal woman. I'm honored to call her friend and mentor. She's graced our campus in a powerful way. Her keynote presentation for this year's MLK celebration was not only timely, but necessary for the condition of our campus. The necessity of Rebecca's message proved itself with the events that were to take place weeks later in matters that are still being addressed. Her title and content, Feeding the Healed Future, sticks with me and I reference it often. Congratulations, Rebecca.
Journey Brewer is a kind-hearted person who consistently goes above and beyond in all of her endeavors. She remains a positive influence on all of those around her, as well as a role model to all the incoming students on campus. Journey volunteers, like always, in any way to help, whenever she can, and she never hesitates. She's currently studying sociology so she can further her knowledge of human behavior and better understand people. This will further her ability to be empathetic and always put others before herself. Journey has a bright vision for herself and for the future. She actively works and is committed to her effort in different community programs, and her character is now also recognized by the United States Army through a number of awarded coins, award nominations, and multiple different recognitions. Currently ranking as a promotable E4, she continues to excel in her leadership skills and knowledge in different community initiatives that she's a part of. Congratulations, Journey.
And I would like to point out that our keynote speaker today humbly left out herself. However, I would like to point out that Dr. Caldwell is also a Phenomenal Women Award winner this year. So after a national search, Dr. Shula Caldwell was chosen to serve as the inaugural Vice President for Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Chief Diversity Officer for the Southern Illinois system. Dr. Caldwell is responsible for coordinating all system diversity and equity programs, non-discrimination policies, and equal opportunity compliance matters. Most importantly, she supervises initiatives leading the SIU system towards becoming an anti-racist organization, and she has truly proven visionary in this role. From the moment she started in her role, she has made it her mission to connect with each campus by being visible in person when possible, but most certainly present in many activities across the campus virtually, as you've seen today. She has begun the difficult task of bringing the SIU system universities together in purposeful conversations about what each campus is doing for ADEI efforts. how projects can benefit the minds of people from each campus, and she does this all with great enthusiasm and thoughtful vision. She has even taken upon herself to plan cross-campus events, such as an upcoming visit of a Holocaust survivor, Mr. Walter Bloss, who will be visiting each campus of the SIU system in the first week of April. And she has taken upon herself to see the needs of the system and ensure those gaps are filled, such as creating a committee to create an inclusive language guide that can be utilized on all campuses to ensure the system itself is speaking the same language of ADEI work. She is truly beyond compare, and while ADEI work is her chosen career path, she does this work with much purpose. She is truly inspiring to watch and work with and must be recognized as a phenomenal woman. Congratulations, Sheila.
Christina Castillo is an outstanding person and truly deserves to be recognized as a staff member within the SIU system who has always been interested in the success of students, faculty, and staff around her. When the Hub reached out to Christina to see if she would be interested in collaborating for Hispanic and Latinx Heritage Month programming, she answered with an enthusiastic yes. She had amazing ideas and worked tirelessly to ensure each one was executed flawlessly. We had a variety of virtual events, and all had attendance from both of our universities. The above and beyond attitude that she displays truly improves the experience of students within the system and on each campus. Additionally, Christina's ability to connect is unparalleled. She also knows the potential roadblocks for students, and more specifically, the Hispanic and Latinx students on our campuses. Within her office in Carbondale, students look specifically for Christina because she would understand what they need to talk about, what they knew, or they knew she would have the answer to their question because she just always knows. Her concern for these students and her willingness to help ensures these students not only feel connected to her in the office, but the institution overall. If you ask many Hispanic and Latinx students who are persisting to graduation for the name of anyone that has helped them get to where they are today, they would say Christina. She has single-handedly changed the face of the Hispanic and Latinx experience on the Carbondale campus and beyond. She knows it is imperative to promote inclusive excellence and demonstrates an active commitment to creating a more equitable campus environment in all that she does. Congratulations, Christina.
Dr. Denise Cobb, Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, has served in this capacity since 2018 and in a role in an interim capacity since 2015. In that time, in her role as a faculty member before that, she's demonstrated many characteristics of a phenomenal woman. It just takes one conversation with Denise to know that she always is thinking about what can make SIUE a better campus and a better home for everyone here. She consistently demonstrates her commitment to listen and learn from those around her. When there are opportunities for faculty, staff, or students to connect with student administration, she's there and available, ready to be present and connect with those around her. And when those moments of sharing become difficult to hear feedback, she's still there in the fight for the students. What is most reflective of her remarkable character is not just in the way she listens and accepts the heavy burden of her role, but what she does with the information she gains. She's always reflecting on her work and the circumstances that have gotten us, SIUE, to the point we are. And then in moments when she asks herself and others the difficult questions about what action do we need to take, especially as it relates to anti-racism, equity, diversity, inclusion efforts, she will then thoroughly reflect on the answers shared. Whether she's trying to improve the faculty experience or listening and advocating for students, her dedication to anti-racism, equity, and diversity and inclusion work is clear. She recognizes and demonstrates the understanding that this difficult work can also be something that unites us, and that working collaboratively is how we can make this campus better for everyone. Congratulations, Denise.
Dr. Carol Colanino Meeks is a conscientious and dedicated woman leading many of our research programs and challenging our employees to excel. She is not afraid to face up to research challenges and also to call attention to important social issues within her field of anthropology. In these times of uncertainty and disparity, Dr. Colanino Meeks is a voice making sure no one is overlooked. In our center's discussions of race and equity, Dr. Colanino has been a leading voice in starting conversations and calling attention to ways we can improve our outreach. In every case, I've seen her navigate these situations with compassion, conscientiousness, and professionalism. She manages many of our grant programs that are designed to support those that are traditionally underrepresented in STEM fields. When we work with our program participants, she does not hesitate to share her own story of being a gender minority who once struggled in school due to several systematic barriers that did not properly support those with her specific ways of learning. She has always been awarded grant funds to support research and awareness to help facilitate positive change for the unfortunate issue of sexual harassment that is often found in fieldwork scenarios in the sciences. Carol has overcome personal experiences as well as supported others through challenging issues dealing with discriminatory acts and barriers. She deserves to be recognized for her outstanding work as an integral part of our department. Congratulations, Carol.
Carolyn Jason embodies what it means to be phenomenal on both a personal and professional level. She has made countless contributions to diversity and inclusion at SIUE and beyond, and inspires others to do the same. In 2021, Carolyn was appointed to serve as co-chair of an ad hoc committee tasked with improving the relationship between the SIU East St. Louis Center and the Edwardsville campus. The committee utilized data from the Anti-Racism Task Force, institutional documents, surveys, listening sessions, and interviews to make recommendations for improving communication and services to the East St. Louis Center. Carolyn serves as a team member of the SIUE Truth, Racial Healing and Transformation Campus Center, and she currently serves as the interim program director of the SIUE Head Start and Early Head Start program. The mission of the programs are to positively affect the lives of others by removing barriers and providing quality services to empower children and their families. Carolyn is committed to this mission and proves it daily as she builds relationships with staff and the families they serve to foster success. Congratulations to my friend, colleague, and soror, Carolyn Jason.
Candy Johnson is phenomenal. A sisterhood of scientists exists in our community in part because we have so many strong female mentors. In her current position as the program coordinator and resource center manager, Candy is the first face a lot of undergraduates and graduates see when they enter the STEM Center. Often, students come to the center to study or ask for help in science topics, and she makes a special effort to seek out other women interested in science. In her position working with students in area schools, Candy's efforts to ensure we are reaching students and engaging them in science in ways that they can relate to sets her apart from other educators. When discussing our STEM program with area schools and teachers, Katie's always careful to inquire what the needs of the students are and how we might best accommodate them in our curriculum. As a working mom of 2 young boys, I have seen her make tremendous efforts to balance work life and personal life, and she is amazing at it. Congratulations, Candy.
When Dee Johnson became the Research Support Services Manager within LIS, she took on an entirely new role and was responsible for developing the vision of this new department. She recognized the importance of her staff in assisting her to develop that vision and sharing it with them. Empathy is one of the core tenets of Dee's leadership style. In the time that I have worked with Dee, empathy is at the center of all of her working relationships and decisions. She understands the importance of meeting people at their level. Her empathy has allowed her to go well past the role of supervisor and has taken on a role of mentor with much of the library staff and faculty. Dee is a safe space for many to bounce ideas off of and get honest answers. She has created a space for everyone around her to grow and take chances while providing them room to fail.
Dee is an active listener who knows how to make people feel heard and valued, while also not shying away from difficult conversations. Dee knows how to coach others to be the best version of themselves and handles it with grace. Dee approaches her work through the lens of diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism. Dee knows how to recognize barriers and is committed to breaking them down. She has positively influenced hiring practices in the library, helping others to recognize their own biases and commit to making the process fair and equitable. Dee continues to improve our campus outreach efforts with DEIA guiding her. It is apparent that she is working to build a library that represents the community it serves and welcomes everyone. The state civil service system classifies Dee as library operations associate, but to quote Dr. Maya Angelou, Dee is a woman, phenomenal woman, that's Dee.
Dr. Min Liu, a faculty member in the Applied Communication Studies Department, in addition to her fine ongoing work as a scholar and educator at SIUE. She is also very involved with the AAPI community in this area. She serves as the Community Outreach Director for the Chinese Education and Cultural Center in Richmond Heights, where she has helped coordinate vigils and fundraisers and worked with area law enforcement to raise awareness of AAPI hate crimes. Most recently, she wrote and received a $50,000 grant for 2 years from the St. Louis County Children's Service Fund. This grant fund worked towards addressing mental health needs among AAPI youth and families in St. Louis. She is working to make a positive difference towards anti-AAPI racism and working hard to create understanding within the community by applying her professional skills as a communication scholar to problems in our region. Congratulations, Min.
Diana Mcgreen is the current Graduate Professional Student Council, or GPST, president on the Southern Illinois University Carbondale campus. And while she is actively involved in many things on the Carbondale campus, her efforts have truly had an impact beyond her home campus. As the GPST president, she serves on a variety of committees, and some of those have her serving as a graduate student voice. On multiple occasions, she's served on a committee that includes faculty, staff, and students from across the SIU system, and she takes this role very seriously. She ensures she thinks critically and asks the difficult equity and inclusion questions that not everyone may be willing to ask, but everyone will benefit from hearing the answer to. There have even been a couple of times that a student at SIUE mentioned how much they gained from hearing Diana speak within these committee meetings and how they learned ways to advocate for the student voice in a better way. This influence moves beyond her own campus. Additionally, she doesn't stop with just being a voice. She quite often goes above and beyond. She recently took the lead in planning the first Diversity Week held on the Carbondale campus. This week brought together presenters from across the university system for the benefit of the system. She was able to independently fundraise $25,000 for the week, and she doesn't stop there. She's recently planned a Saluki Pride event, a Stand with Ukraine Peace rally, and is in the midst of planning a women's wellness walk that will celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Title IX and honor past, present female athletes and coaches. Diana truly is a phenomenal woman and has greatly contributed to the Carbondale campus and the SIU system as a whole. Congratulations, Diana.
Dr. Gertrude Panirsavam serves as a professor in the Management and Marketing Department within the School of Business here at SIUE and absolutely demonstrates the characteristics of a phenomenal woman. When the call comes for her to commit time and efforts to anti-racism, equity, diversity, and inclusion work, she consistently answers with an enthusiastic yes. From serving as the chair of the policy committee for the university's Diversity Council, to serving on the core council of our anti-racism task force, to chairing the Anti-Racism Task Force Subcommittee 4, Gertrude tirelessly strives for a more equitable campus. She takes on these roles and responsibilities with a humble spirit, despite the fierceness with which she fights for equitable policies and accountability for campus action and for change. She also serves as an equity advisor, which are faculty members who are charged with ensuring inclusive recruitment practices and hiring strategies throughout the search process. Beside Gertrude's formal commitments, she also regularly encourages her colleagues and those around her to have difficult but necessary conversations about their own bias, privilege, and parts played in continuing systemic racism. By encouraging conversations and reflections, she challenges long-held beliefs and perspectives that could inhibit supporting students in equitable and purposeful ways. By providing space for learning and growth, she improves the environment for students around her. Her holistic thinking truly impacts the environment she occupies. She believes in more equitable and inclusive spaces and continues to do what it takes to see those spaces come into fruition. Congratulations, Gertrude.
Mahogany Pickett is very involved on campus and demonstrates her remarkable character throughout her actions every single day. She's double majoring. She actually already received one of her degrees, but she was double majoring in criminal justice and psychology and minoring in African American studies. Mahogany is devoted to examining human behavior and providing her, examining human behavior, providing her the ability to fully understand and empathize with people. She's a feminist and an activist. Mahogany is devoted to bringing about change on this campus. She is committed to her work in anti-racism, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and displays that every day. She works vigorously to improve policies that affect the student experience during their time here on campus. Her remarkable character and influence are not only recognized by her peers, but also by the multiple organizations that Mo's a part of. She's actively involved as the president of Black Girls Rock. She is constantly being recognized as Federated Sister of the Month through NACWC, and she provides constant effort to improve the Black experience on SIU East campus. Mahogany's hard work should not go unrecognized. Congrats, Mo.
Izzy Pruitt has committed to anti-racism and inclusion not only through large acts of protesting injustice, but also through everyday life. As a first-generation college student and a second-generation Latina immigrant, she has had privileges beyond those before her, and she believes it is her duty to work towards giving those opportunities to others to create a more equitable environment for all. Izzy has helped to organize and plan 4 different protests and marches, including the Women's March and the Black Lives Matter protest in Springfield, Illinois. As the current VP for student government, Izzy helps to enact policy changes like reforming sexist dress codes to provide a more inclusive environment for all, and engaging in conversations with students from marginalized groups to hear their voice and bring that to the university administration. This bravery requires confidence, conviction, and courage that the voice of the student should not only be heard, but heard clearly when offering feedback for change to the administration. She even recently made time to speak about recommendations and improvements for the hub on behalf of her senators. She is not afraid to be direct about ways to improve equity work and make clear the voice of those students. Izzy also serves as the Director of Health and Wellness Education in her sorority, Alpha Phi, providing resources to help the development of nearly 100 women with their leadership skills and understanding of themselves so they can be the best possible women they can be. Congratulations, Izzy.
Talisha Reinhardt is one of the most inspiring women I know. She's passionate about what she does, and when it comes to helping others being successful. Talisha goes out of her way to assist veterans and military-affiliated students of all different backgrounds. Anyone that walks into the Military and Veteran Services office is met with a warm smile from Talisha. They never have to worry that they are given incorrect information due to Talisha's extensive knowledge. Talisha is always open to having tough conversations and giving students a platform to feel heard, such as with her, from uniform to university, African American service members and veterans in the community panel, and many others. She consistently reaches out across campus to create collaborative programming opportunities that not only supports her office and the students she serves, but encourages campus to see military and veteran students as part of equity, diversity, and inclusion efforts. You don't meet many people as genuine and passionate about their craft as Talisha. She's truly one of a kind. Congratulations, Talisha.
Dr. Bernadette has worked diligently to help overcome barriers for underserved populations by engaging in projects and continuous works that improve health, equity, and access to care in these populations. She has not only engaged in this work at the local, regional, and national level, but also internationally. Through the organization ER Abroad, Dr. Sobczak has led, planned, and participated in multiple medical mission trips to an underserved community in Guatemala with very limited access to healthcare resources. Dr. Sobczak conducts mission trips to this area at least twice per year to promote continuity of care to the hundreds of patients that they see on each trip. And most recently, Dr. Sobczak and her project team were awarded funding to enhance internet capabilities in the local clinic in Guatemala and implement an electronic health record system so they can perform virtual health visits in between mission trips. As the clinical site coordinator for nurse practitioner students at SIUE School of Nursing, a large part of her work is focused on initiating and maintaining collaborative relationships with clinical partners in local and regional, rural, urban, and suburban underserved communities where students can complete their clinical hours while providing care to underserved populations. As a pediatric nurse practitioner, her commitment to the health and wellness of the children in Guatemala is evident. She not only cares for them on the ground in Guatemala, but she leads monthly telemedicine clinics with the children that are malnourished. Her hard work is paying off as the initial results of these monthly clinics is showing that the children are growing and starting to thrive. Without her tenacity, these children would most likely still be suffering from severe malnutrition. Dr. Sobczak is an excellent example of how one woman can change, inspire, and motivate those around her to improve others' lives. Congratulations, Bernadette.
Ashley Whittler definitely embodies the criteria of a phenomenal woman. Her education at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, SIUE, began as an undergraduate student in the nursing program. She was guided by wonderful, supportive instructors who instilled the values of equity, diversity, and inclusion throughout her education. Her nursing career has evolved over time, and she now supports the next generation of nurses in her role as an instructor for the very same school of nursing she graduated from. As a clinical instructor, she implements cultural awareness projects to help students learn and engage in culturally sensitive patient care. Students participate in experiences with ancillary services in the community to learn about holistic care options available for diverse populations. Most recently, students participated in a simulated virtual telemedicine experience, which prepares them to care for patients with limited access to healthcare. Her research is focused on women's health promotion education via telemedicine to global patients in areas where there is little access to care. And she is working towards a grant application, which would provide for contraceptive access for women who live in these same areas. In the past year, she has implemented a reproductive life planning tool, which promotes safe and equitable family planning education for all patients of reproductive ability within her clinic. And she also participates in research focused on the implementation of a patient-centering program, which provides group prenatal care services offered during evening and weekend hours to promote increased access for all pregnant women. Finally, she has participated in several fundraising events for the National Share organization located in the St. Louis area, which is a foundation providing support for families who have experienced perinatal or neonatal loss. Congratulations, Ashley.
Okay, and now this is the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm going to stop the sharing. You're more than welcome to come off of mute. You can turn your camera on, and I want everyone to just celebrate these amazing women. Let's do this. Woo! Yes, congratulations. Amazing, you're amazing. Congratulations. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm feeling very inspired by these amazing, amazing women. And I got to cheat because I got to see some of these nominations as they came through. And I remember just thinking in my mind, like, being blown away by how much is done. And I'm just thinking about what a small sampling of women this is to start with. So I just want to say congratulations. And I also want to make one note as well, which if some of you saw, you might have noticed that we had people from not only the SIU system, but also the Carbondale campus. And that was with much purpose. When we opened up our Phenomenal Women award nominations process, we decided that we don't know what women are working across campuses or what women are inspiring, our campus. And so we wanted to make sure that we opened it up to everyone. And we were greatly pleased because that gave us the chance then to find and recognize women across the SIU system who are really impacting the system, the campus, and SIUE as well. So I just wanted to point that out, and I hope people were just as excited as I was to see some of those, some of those nominations come across. Okay, so now I'm even more excited because we have more to come. So to get started, you might be wondering why this event is all about phenomenal women. So to add a little context, like I mentioned, I love it. When this program began, it was inspired by a poem written by a pretty phenomenal woman, American poet, author, and civil rights activist, Maya Angelou. Many know her works, and many know the specific poem that's used as inspiration for this event. We'd actually like to take a moment now to have that poem recited to help us reflect one last time on what it means to be that phenomenal woman. And one of our very own SIU East students, Ramat, no, I said it wrong. I apologize, Ramat. Ramat Salau is a student in the School of Business who currently serves as the Vice President of Membership for Beta Alpha Psi, Internal Affairs Officer for Student Government, President of the Muslim Student Association, a supplemental instruction leader, and is also a Cougar Connector. So we're pretty lucky to have this very busy student with us here today. So at this time, I would like to turn the floor to Ramat, who will now recite by Maya Angelou from her third volume of poetry published in 1978, And Still I Rise, the poem Phenomenal Woman.
Thank you so much, Lindy. Phenomenal woman. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size, but when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please. To a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around with honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes, the flash of my teeth, the joy in my feet, the swing of my waist. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breast, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you'll understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, all of you and me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramat. I really appreciate you being with us here today. I know you are busy, and I really appreciate you sharing your voice with us. It means a lot. And now we have the chance to hear from yet one more phenomenal woman on our campus, our Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, Dr. Denise Cobb. In addition to her work with the faculty and academic units, she supports the operations of the Office of International Affairs and Graduate and International Admissions. She joined the SIU faculty in the Department of Sociology and Criminal Justice Studies in 2003, and she was promoted to the rank of professor in 2015. Between 2010 and 2015, she's held a variety of positions in the Office of the Provost, and in 2017, she was named Provost. She has served as the Director of Assessment, Assistant Provost for Academic Innovation and Effectiveness, Interim Associate Provost for Academic Planning and Program Development, as well as Associate Provost for Academic Affairs. She's quite accomplished and certainly lifts up the women around her. We're so pleased she could join us today for closing remarks. And at this time, I'd like to ask Provost Cobb to share those closing thoughts with us.
Thank you, Lindy. I'm truly honored and humbled to even be considered alongside this amazing group of women. There are so many people I respect and quite frankly that I admire, and I'm thrilled to learn about more amazing women today. So thank you. Thank you for sharing yourselves and making a difference. And importantly, I want to thank everyone who nominated these women. I can't emphasize enough how important that simple act is in our efforts to pursue equity. I also want to extend my appreciation to the phenomenal leaders that we have, Dr. Harris and Dr. Caldwell, and our outstanding staff and students who helped make this event possible. It's important that we have moments like this, one to pause reflect, and lift others up. And today is a reminder of the talent, skills, and determination that are part of our everyday experience on this campus, and the generosity required to build a better community and a university. And with that reminder, I'll take a little bit of time for some reflection. Certainly, women's experiences and the challenges have changed some in the past 100 years. Although I'm conscious that we must acknowledge that women's experiences are not and have not been monolithic. Progress has been varied in the US among women and across the globe. We have women in leadership positions, and at least in some ways, there are changes that positively affect the lives of women, and I would argue in society broadly. Yet, the outcomes, as I mentioned, are not uniform, and the work is not finished. As we celebrate women and point to progress, I hope we will also pause and consider why the outcomes are uneven, varying across intersectional identities, and why the change is far from sufficient yet. Why are the challenges so persistent? Who's missing from this celebration, from access, real opportunity, and why are they missing? What barriers and obstacles have prevented other women who are truly phenomenal as well from having the opportunities and support that would make all the difference in their journeys? What can we each do to help address the social, systemic, and structural barriers while confronting the local and individual challenges as well? How do we make sure that we lift each other's with us and clear the way for others to realize their full potential? I hope you will commit, or for most of you or all of you, recommit to working in the ways that you can on this campus and beyond to address those barriers and obstacles that remain. Our task is to ensure that biases and systems of oppression and subtle marginalization do not remain unchallenged. We can be agents of change to help other women clear the path and make a difference, and to make others, to do that for all. We absolutely need allies all along the way. I hope you will contemplate the work that you can do in your department, in your groups, your office, your classrooms, while you're serving on committees, when you're in a meeting, when you're using policy, contributing to your discipline, interacting with students. I could go on and on. So think about even those activities that seem out of our control. How do we listen, act, and disrupt when needed? How do we hold space for others? How do we listen intently as women share their experience and their truths? How do we make sure that we prepare ourselves to support one another and ensure that truths are spoken, that moments of discrimination and despair don't remain hidden, but become a central and collective concern, not just an individual one? We are in this together. The work of disrupting inequities requires each of us to commit, and importantly, to act. As we leave this event today, let's celebrate the amazing awardees today and consider the work we all have left to do. What will you do today, tomorrow, and the next day? What will you challenge me and others in leadership to do? I look forward to our continued journey toward becoming an anti-racist institution and accomplishing our goals of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I can't wait to see what we can continue to do together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Provost Cobb, for your thoughts. I always enjoy your reflections. And I'm, again, so grateful for all of you taking the time today to be here. Thank you for those nominators who shared their voice. Thank you, Dr. Harris, Dr. Cobb, Dr. Caldwell, for the amazing keynote. And most of all, well, and thank you, Ramat, for reading. That was really amazing and excellent. I appreciate your voice as well. And also, thank you so much for all the awardees. You are truly phenomenal women. It was truly an honor to honor you. Like, it was just a really wonderful experience to hear about all the amazing, amazing, remarkable things that you're doing, because you're just doing it. You're just doing it and making it look easy. So we love you for that, and we appreciate you for that. Before we go, one last couple of things. I just want to highlight that we do have some amazing events for the rest of the month. Those are advertised on our website for the Hub's website for final events. We also have some opening events coming up for Arab American Heritage Month, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and Jewish American Heritage Month, also on our website if you want to see those. And we're really looking forward to all of you being at those future events. And also, as a heads up, any of those people who did receive awards today, our office support specialist, Charlotte, will be reaching out to you to make sure you receive your physical awards. Those will be coming to you as well to make arrangements for that. And so with that, I want to say thank you one last time to everyone here who's in attendance. It has really been a joy. I'm just happy to see everyone's faces smiling. It's like a really good pick-me-up for the day. And I wish you all much greatness, more phenomenalness. And if I can ask the award winners to stay behind real quick, that'd be great. And everyone else, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for coming to our Phenomenal Women